That's the one thing about our audience. They always want a new guy to break through the glass ceiling.
All you have to do is just be real.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. I am the jabroni-beating, pie-eating, trailblazing, eyebrow-raising, talking is done, you're out of your class, no sleep till Brooklyn, The Rock whips your ass. Woo!
I wish you and King would quit talking.
Welcome to Around the Ring, episode 87. It is Sunday, March 26th, 2017. I'm one half of your host, Dave Brown. My partner in crime, Floyd Johnson Jr., is on assignment down in Orlando, Florida, getting ready for WrestleMania weekend and the whole week extravaganza of crap they have going on there. Lucky bastard. He will be sending me a recording of his thoughts on the week of wrestling, which will be on this show. I haven't heard it yet. I don't know what he's going to talk about. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. In the meantime, I'm going to give you some of my thoughts on what happened this week and do some predictions. We're going to talk about Ring of Honor's Supercard of Honor 9, which happens this coming Saturday night, April 1st. Also that same night is NXT TakeOver Orlando, so we're going to do predictions for both shows. I'm not going to lie, I'm looking forward to both of those way more than I am actual WrestleMania. Especially you look at the Supercard of Honor card, whew, it's stacked. There's going to be some good stuff on there. Also, we're going to talk, I've got some thoughts on some stuff that happened this week. I didn't quite watch everything. I watched a bit of Raw, and we'll start there. So yeah, I watched a little bit of Raw. Didn't really get to see the whole thing. The thing that was the best was Sami Zayn standing up to Stephanie McMahon. He is taking the mantle of the guy who's going to stand up for, the quote, boys in the back, and stick it to the McMahons. And what I really liked about this is that no matter how bitchy Stephanie got, he never backed down. I thought that was great. And I think Sami's a really good person for that role, being the underdog, the guy who's always fighting for his opportunities. I think that's a great spot for him. They were in Brooklyn. I saw a little gif of the New Day segment, which I actually didn't get to see. I watched basically through the Sami Zayn stuff and then had to go to bed that night and never got around to watching it the rest of the week. So yeah, that's about all I got on Monday Night Raw. I did watch SmackDown this morning, mostly because Floyd kept telling me how amazing this tag team match was, and he was not wrong. The Usos and American Alpha finally went out there and had a killer match. We've been waiting since American Alpha came up to SmackDown, to the main roster. We've been waiting for one of their great matches. We've seen them have great matches with the Revival, with other teams, and we knew it was there. We just hadn't seen it yet, and finally we got a great match out of these guys, and they and the Usos have such amazing chemistry. This was a fantastic match, and I think putting the belts on the Usos is absolutely the right thing to do. They are on fire. The crowd was getting behind them. This new attitude really fits their persona. They're who they really are as people, and I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was quite good, and I was happy to see the Usos become a 3-time tag team champions. They're a great team, and they've been for a long time. They were the only decent tag team in WWE, the only real tag team. It was pretty dry there for a bit, and admittedly, right now we're in a dry spot, especially on SmackDown, especially on NXT. There's need of more teams, but the Usos have always performed. They got really boring after a while because we'd seen everything they'd done, and once they did this change, it really, really worked. NXT this week I thought was a pretty good show, just mostly setting up for TakeOver. I know we've got one more episode to go before TakeOver itself, which will be on Wednesday. My big takeaway is Andrade Cien Almas got crickets, but really that crowd in whatever building they were in sucked for pretty much this entire tapings. It sucked. There are matches that would have had huge reactions in Full Sail or in a slightly smaller venue that just didn't go over the way it should have. And So yeah, this was there. We had the debut of the crazy chick who came after Nikki Cross, whose name I can't remember. I remember a few months ago or a month or so ago, whenever the tapings happened and there was the news came out that she had debuted, there was a big, kind of a big to-do talking about it. So, I mean, she looks crazy enough to take on Nikki Cross. It should be fun. But that was pretty much that. So, let's go ahead and talk about TakeOver Orlando. Let's do that first. And then we will get into Supercard of Honor, because I want to talk the whole news with Ring of Honor and NXT and whatnot. Mother father. Well, okay, we're going to actually talk Supercard of Honor, because, hold on, I thought I found an NXT TakeOver Orlando. Wikipedia is not helping me here. TakeOver, spell take right, over Orlando card. Normally the Wikipedia pages have the full cards, but this one did not. Alright, cage side seats. Do not fail me now. Alright, so, here we go. We're going to start at the bottom. Alright, so we've got to have, this is what we know of so far. I'm sure more stuff will be added in this week, because this card that I'm going to go over, which I'm finding on CagesideSeats.com, does not include matches for Cassius Ohno, Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, Tyler Bate, Trent Seven, Pete Dunne, Mark Andrews, or Hideo Itami. We've got Sanity, so Eric Young, Killian Dane, Alexander Wolf, and Nikki Cross taking on Ty Dillinger, Roderick Strong, No Way Jose, and Ruby Riott. That was her name. This should be a fun opener. I suspect the baby faces will go over in some way. Killian Dane is a monster and needs new gear. That's all I'm going to say about that. Just needs new gear. Then we have Andrade Cien Almas taking on Aleister Black. This should be pretty cool. It's going to be the former Tommy End's real first debut in NXT. They've done a good job with some vignettes talking about the guy. He's very talented from everything I've heard. And should be a lot of fun. Aleister Black's actually a really cool name, so that's good. I still think it would have been better to keep the Tommy End name. But someone pointed out that during his vignettes, they kind of allude to his old name. So at least they're, kind of like when Prince Devitt debuted and went from Prince Devitt to Finn Balor. They showed that. Same with Hideo Itami, same with Asuka. So if they're going to change some of these people's names, then at least they're doing that, doing it in that kind of way. But I think in this one, Aleister Black wins. Then we've got the Authors of Pain taking on DIY and the Revival for the Tag Team Championships. This is going to be an elimination match. I have no idea on this. I kind of think the Authors of Pain are going to keep the belts. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's probably time for the Revival to head up to the main roster, to head over to SmackDown. DIY, I don't know, man. They're so over in NXT. You could put them on Raw as a tag team, and also have them compete in the Cruiserweight division. I don't know on this one. I really don't. We'll see what happens. Then we have Asuka defending the NXT Women's Championship against Ember Moon. They've been building up Ember Moon, but I don't think it's time yet for Asuka to lose this belt, especially, depending on what goes on at WrestleMania for the SmackDown Women's Championship. To me, this match and what happens with the Women's Championship match at Mania all hinges on whether or not Naomi is cleared to come back. If Naomi is cleared, then Asuka stays in NXT, keeps the belt. If Naomi is not cleared, Asuka comes up to SmackDown, keeps the NXT belt, and wins the SmackDown Women's Championship in that match. I don't think Ember Moon's winning here. It's just not the right time for her. She has an impressive finisher. She's quite good, but she's still not on that level with Asuka. The time to take that belt off of Asuka was that 4-way match, and the time was when Asuka was unconscious out of the ring and Nikki Cross had been put through a table, and Billie Kay and Peyton Royce should have pinned each other. That would have been the time. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, just because Ember Moon was really good, definitely future women's champion, but she's not on that level of Asuka. And really, Asuka needs to go up to SmackDown and win the SmackDown Championship and be stripped of the NXT Women's Championship. And then the main event, Shinsuke Nakamura challenging Bobby Roode for the NXT Championship. A lot of this also depends on what their plans are for Nakamura post-Mania. Nakamura is a big draw for NXT. A big draw. Now he can go ahead and go up to Raw or SmackDown and still stay on NXT shows. But yeah, I don't know. There's nothing more for Nakamura to do in NXT. Nakamura needs to come up, preferably to SmackDown. But there's a part of me that wants to see him challenge Brock Lesnar. I guess we'll see. But that is the NXT TakeOver card as it stands right now. It will probably get a little added to it between now and next Saturday. But we'll see. It should be a good show. These NXT TakeOver cards, even on paper when the cards just don't look that great, the shows always end up being really, really, really good. So I'm looking forward to it. Now, the other big show that same night is Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor 9. It is in Lakeland, Florida, my former hometown, or someplace I used to live. Lakeland, for those of you who don't know, is this town that's basically halfway in between Orlando and Tampa on Interstate 4, which goes across the middle of Florida. Lakeland doesn't really have any claims to fame. I'm old, so no one probably is going to remember this, but U2 in 1992, when they started their Zoo TV tour, their first stop was in Lakeland for some random-ass reason, and I was a huge fan at the time, and sadly I didn't get to go. But, yeah, so this is... It's just a little kind of suburb. One cool thing about Lakeland I remember is we were technically in the market of both Orlando and Tampa, so we got all of the Orlando and all of the Tampa TV stations. That was kind of cool. I kind of like that. But this whole Supercard of Honor, the big thing about this going into this is it was going to be the Hardys taking on the Young Bucks. It was going to be a big deal. Because at that point the Hardys were still the TNA Tag Team Champions, and this was before things changed with Impact and their contracts ran out and they did not re-sign. So since then the Hardys have already come to Ring of Honor and are already the Tag Team Champions. But let's start at the bottom of the card and we'll get to the top. Now we've got the Kingdom, Matt Taven and Vinny Mascarella, or however the hell you pronounce his name, taking on the Beer City Bruiser and Silas Young. Yeah, because reasons. I don't know why. I really don't. But, I'm sure the Kingdom will win. But this is two heel teams going against each other, which Ring of Honor can pull off. But next up we have Frankie Kazarian taking on Punishment Martinez. That should be a good match. I figure Martinez will go over. Then we have Adam Cole challenging for the Ring of Honor World Television Championship against Marty Scurll. This should be a really good match, but I'm sure Scurll is retaining because Adam Cole is pretty much 1 foot in NXT. Then we have Dragon Lee and Jay White taking on Valador Jr. and Will Ospreay. Should be a fun flippy-do match. Then we have the Briscoes, Jay and Mark and Bully Ray, defending the 6-man tag team championship against the Bullet Club, Hangman Page, Tama Tonga, and Tangaroa. So the Gorillas of Destiny are in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, originally, there were supposed to be Jushin Thunder Liger and Yoshihashi were going to be involved, but they had visa issues. Thanks, Trump. Then we have Cody Rhodes taking on Jay Lethal in a Texas Bull Rope match. I don't know how much longer. I don't know what the deal is with Cody, because he's also on Impact right now. So, on that tag team match, the Briscoes and Bully Ray are probably retaining. I'm going to go on a limb and say I think Jay Lethal finally gets his win back here. Then we have the Hardys, the Broken Hardys, taking on the Young Bucks, defending the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship in a ladder match. This will only be the 7th ladder match in Ring of Honor history. And, you get the Hardys on your show, and you sure as shit better put them in a ladder match, because there's going to be some craziness going on. I think the Young Bucks are walking out of here with the belts, and the Hardys are going to show up at WrestleMania or the Raw afterwards. And then we have the main event for the Ring of Honor World Championship, Christopher Daniels defending against Dalton Castle. I think by the end of the year, Dalton Castle needs to win the Ring of Honor World Championship. I don't know if he needs to beat Christopher Daniels on Daniels' first defense out. Maybe a super competitive match, and Daniels just ekes out a win, shakes Dalton Castle's hand at the end, raises it, and in a month or two they have a rematch, and that's when Dalton beats him. I don't know. Should be good, though. And that is Supercard of Honor 9. Now, the other real big news, actually probably the biggest news of the week, it has been reported, Pro Wrestling Sheet and the Wrestling Observer all talked about it, that WWE, for a number of months, has been in negotiations with Sinclair Broadcasting to buy Ring of Honor. Now, what exactly does that mean? At this point, it's all super preliminary. It is nothing on paper. They're just talking. But it sounds like it would be a complete purchase of the company and putting the Ring of Honor weekly television show on the WWE network. Now, I personally love this idea of the show being on the network, because then it would be actually easy to keep up with Ring of Honor. Do I like the idea of WWE owning Ring of Honor? I'm torn. On the one hand, it takes away a place for wrestlers to work. Right now, Ring of Honor is a great place for folks to work. The guys and girls are able to go there and either as up-and-coming stars hone their craft, or as folks that are well established but for whatever reason aren't going to make it to WWE. It's a great place for them to be and to kind of, have their career there. And some people have been lifers. The Briscoes are synonymous with Ring of Honor. If WWE buys it and lets it still run as its own organization, just say WWE is the parent company and Ring of Honor is behaves as its own thing, then I'd be okay with it, especially if WWE doesn't go in there and make them change a whole lot of stuff about their style and things of that nature, which I don't think would happen. I think WWE would come in and WWEize it, and then what would be the freaking point, honestly? What I would rather see is WWE not buy the whole thing outright, maybe buy 49%, and then that way it leaves Ring of Honor or Sinclair owning 51%. And it'd be a situation where WWE has a say and has a stake, and the shows and pay-per-views can be on the network, but Ring of Honor is still Ring of Honor. And that, I think, would be the best thing to happen. I know Vince would not go for that. Well, at least I assume he wouldn't, but that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Beyond that, who knows what the hell's going to happen? It's craziness. So So yeah, that's really my thoughts on the whole Ring of Honor WWE thing. And that's going to wrap it up for my part of the show. We're about to hear from Floyd Johnson Jr. And then, then I'll be back at the end after he gives his thoughts. So again, this is episode 88 of Around the Ring Wrestling Podcast. And here's my good buddy Floyd Johnson Jr.
This is Floyd Johnson recording. Pre-recording my comments for Around the Horn episode 88. Today, just kind of wanted to go over really quick Raw, SmackDown, and then my predictions for NXT TakeOver. Raw, March 20th. I'm live in Orlando right now, so this is kind of my thoughts from the last week. What I remembered on the episode. Mick Foley getting fired. We definitely saw that coming. The way Stephanie did it was vintage Vince. And she does it definitely well with her female twist. So Mick Foley gets fired. Sami Zayn comes out and sticks up for him. I'm really excited because we are seeing more of the Sami Zayn personality. And that's what I felt like his character was missing. I felt like he was just a one-dimensional character where it was just he was the guy that loses every time, and I just thought that was limiting who he is as a wrestler. So the fact that he stood up for Mick and he looks like he's going to be the person going against Stephanie, maybe lead the group with Seth and maybe Finn against that Triple H's group, that would be cool because it gets more of his personality out there. Well, he got squashed by Samoa Joe in the next match, which is okay because that's what Sami Zayn does. He loses. There's no person in the WWE that losing hurts less than Sami Zayn because no matter how much he loses, the fans hold out for that time where he actually does win. The Charlotte and Dana match, I would have liked to see Dana come out and be a little more aggressive, put on a better match. It might not be something she's capable of doing, but I just thought that was a great opportunity to make her look as great as possible in that. I got a real kick out of a couple things. First of all, Chris Jericho revealing the real Kevin Owens. I love in wrestling where they use reality. And Kevin Owens, of course, like us, is a big wrestling fan. So having him on there wearing a Chris Jericho shirt was not something out of the ordinary. So I really thought that was really, really cool. Nia Jax beating Bayley. Unfortunately, I do get a kick out of it anytime Bayley loses because I'm a big Nia Jax fan and I wanted it to be a Fatal 4-Way. Something people might not look for on the Fatal 4-Way. It's gonna make Charlotte look better because she has someone, a bigger person, or that can take the spots that she likes to do with the flips off the top ropes. Sasha and Bayley are a little too small to take the spots, and it looks like it would end up hurting Charlotte. Triple H, the challenge for Seth Rollins, we figured it was going to be that way. That way, if Seth is really not well, they can make it more of a fight than a wrestling match. So he can come out maybe in jeans and a t-shirt, and literally it ends up being almost like a shoot fight. I think Samoa Joe will get involved, and in the end, Finn Balor get involved, and Seth Rollins and Finn Balor come out on top. The Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns match at the end of the match. I just wanted everyone to know. I didn't think anybody recognized this. Braun Strowman actually beat Roman Reigns, thanks to the Undertaker coming in the ring and choke slamming Braun. He actually made physical contact with Braun first, which gives Braun the win by DQ. It was a cool moment. Undertaker took the spear. I imagine Monday, or this coming up Monday, that Undertaker's going to come out on top, and it's going to set up for Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. But I'll get to my WrestleMania predictions later in the week. But it was overall, I actually enjoyed the episode of Raw. I don't know how many people watch it live or record it, but the show actually flowed well. Right now, if it's predictable, it's gonna be predictable. I mean, they've pretty much set in stone what they were gonna do at WrestleMania, so it's gonna be predictable over the next few weeks. You just look if the episode drags or flows well. I thought it flowed pretty well. And that is my review of Raw. I'm on to SmackDown Live. Again, SmackDown Live this week, March 21st, was better than Raw. I mean, SmackDown consistently does this, and the highlight of the night absolutely was the Usos versus American Alpha. I've been a big complainer about the status of the tag team division on SmackDown, because I feel like the Usos with their heel change were a perfect foil for an American Alpha. Now, personally, I wouldn't have changed the titles on Tuesday, because I would like it more of American Alpha has the Usos number, and then the Usos do something kind of sneaky to win the belt. But this time they took on some classic double teaming, grabbing the leg and then hitting them with the super kick. It was a very good match. The match was it was pretty amazing. I don't want to over exclaim, because of course it's not as good as the NXT matches, but all I can say is the NXT tag matches they're generally given more time. American Alpha and the Usos were put on kind of at the beginning of the show. They were given pretty good time, and they told a really good story, so I appreciate that. I'm not going to say anything other than that was a great match. And the Usos, in my opinion of the Usos, has completely changed from a year ago. Last year, I took my niece to meet the Usos at WrestleMania, and it was just kind of like I'm in line for my niece. This year, I can't wait to meet them just to see them again, just to tell them how awesome I think they're doing. SmackDown this week, Daniel Bryan is a heel. I mean, we've said that many times. It plays so much more out on the show. It's just like, the way it came out, I thought he was going to put AJ in a match with some big guy to try to help Shane out. But Shane comes out, pretty much calls out AJ. AJ tries to apologize for the attack. Shane beats him up, which, the fact that they showed AJ being the aggressor, and when it got anything involved with the wrestling move, AJ came out on top. But when it turned into a fight, that's where Shane's strength was. Shane jumping off the top ropes to put AJ through the announce table was cool, even though he missed. I mean, it was pretty clear that he missed. Bray Wyatt playing mind games with Randy Orton is the only other part of the show that, I wouldn't say is worth mentioning, but it was just really cool watching Bray Wyatt and Randy try to creep each other out, because, that's the whole thing. It's who's better at playing with mind games. Then you got had Randy Orton and Baron Corbin that put on a really good match together. You don't notice how big Randy Orton is until you see him next to someone like Baron Corbin or Jack Swagger. He's a big boy, and it was just a really good match. And I think they could actually have a really good program in the future. So that was cool. The John Cena and Fandango. Most people are mad because Fandango and Tyler Breeze are being used. I agree with that statement, but they were on TV. We went a few weeks without any tag team division stuff, and now we had 3 different tag teams on this show. So even if it is as a comedic character, I'd really, really like that to improve with Fandango and Tyler Breeze, but at least they're on TV. John Cena, squash match, and then The Miz and Maurice did a parody of Nikki and John's life, and they broke it out over episodes. I thought it was pretty good. By the time the last segment got on, the joke had ran thin, but I thought when it first started happening, it was pretty hilarious. and The Miz doing something different to get over. So that was really good. Oh, I did skip something. Tyler Breeze, him dressing up as a woman. He shows that he will do anything to entertain the audience, and I just think that's lost on a lot of people when talking about how good he is. Being on the main roster, it comes with it. You have your stars, and they're building they have their stars that they want to build and want to continue to push. And Fandango and Tyler Breeze are on the back burner. But, with injuries and things like that happening, I'm not wishing injuries on anyone, but they could get pushed at any time. So that was SmackDown. I definitely gave that one, I gave it a B+ this week. I just thought, again, it was really gripping. The best part of it, though, is that it is only 2 hours, so it allows to pack more in, and it feels like it's more of an excitement level. So as far as NXT and Impact Wrestling, I'll cover those when I get back on our next show in a few weeks. I just wanted to get something. I don't want to give Dave too much to try to edit. So right now, this is the best TakeOver preview you're going to get because it's March 25th and they probably haven't announced everything as far as Wednesday. But we got Bobby Roode versus Nakamura. I got Bobby Roode going over Nakamura in the NXT title, so Nakamura can debut on the main roster. Ember Moon over Asuka. I got Asuka going over Ember Moon. I think that's going to lead to something happening at WrestleMania. Again, I will record my WrestleMania preview later and get that to you. Authors of Pain, DIY, and The Revival. I'm going with the DIY, and I think they'll get the win with Authors of Pain. I think Johnny Gargano, Ciampa, and The Revival will team up to take out the Authors of Pain first, and then DIY will go over The Revival. I think that's going to lead to The Revival debuting on SmackDown because I just think it's time. But their gimmick is something of a nostalgia gimmick, and I don't know how much that'll work on the main roster, but they are the best tag team in the world, in my opinion. The last match I got is the debut of Aleister Black over Andrade with Andrade Cien Almos. I don't see a world where Aleister Black lose that match, even though I have been really impressed with Andrade Cien Almos' work as of late. He has been well. Well, that is my contribution to this week. This is episode 88 of Around the Horn. I don't know how much he'll keep of this or cut, but we appreciate you for listening. Just wanted to let y'all know how much the show means to me. Even though I am here in Orlando for WrestleMania, I'm going to make sure I can do much as I can to contribute to the show. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Floyd. That's going to do it for this week. Thanks again for checking us out. Don't forget to like and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spreaker, all the great places you can find us. Leave a comment and a rating on the iTunes and the Stitcher. That would be fantastic. You can follow the show on the social medias at Around the Ring OK. You can find Floyd Johnson Jr. on Facebook and Twitter at Floyd Johnson Jr. You can find myself on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Oklahoma Lefty. And that's going to do it for this week. By the time this goes up, we're a day late, but oh well. Thanks again for listening to the Around the Ring Wrestling Podcast, and hope everyone has a great week. If you're heading down to Orlando, safe travels. Take care, everybody.
You've been listening to Around the Ring on the Spark Radio Network.
All you have to do is change your point of view. And believe.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. Damn! Woo!
This sucks more than anything that I've ever fucked before.
What? It's for charity.